Heavenly Revelation, 3 divine signs that confirm your heart's supernatural awakening in Silence in the quaint village of Willowvale, where the sun sets with a golden glow and whispers of faith linger in the air. A devoted mother named Sarah longed for something she could not grasp. While she attended services and led prayers with the parish, an unsettling emptiness gnawed at her spirit. One cold evening, as flickering candlelight danced against the chapel's stone walls dedicated to St. Michael, Sarah knelt in silent prayer, her heart heavy with the weight of unanswered pleas. "Why, Lord?" she sighed, feeling only silence respond. Suddenly, light enveloped the chapel, rich and radiant. It shimmered like sunlight breaking through dark clouds, illuminating the corners of Sarah's quiet sanctuary. Her breath caught in her throat. Was this a sign? She blinked, hoping to dispel her doubt, yet the brilliance remained, a vivid reminder of divine presence. "Thank you, Lord," she whispered, her heart warming. Then, a gentle breeze swept through the room, carrying with it a soft, reverberating voice, a whisper that spoke of peace and hope. "I am with you," it said, and tears streamed down Sarah's cheeks. The echo held a weight of truth, a compelling call to faith that left her stunned. Each note felt like a warm embrace, wrapping around her doubts and fears. As might be expected, her eyes fell upon an old, cherished scripture hanging by the chapel's altar. It had been there since her childhood, the words "faith can move mountains" etched into her memory. In that moment, it glimmered as though alive, the letters dancing with purpose. The signs filled her soul with light, as if the heavens were inviting her to awaken from her spiritual slumber. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. But just as Sarah began to embrace the warmth of these miracles, darkness loomed on the horizon. Her young son, Ethan, fell gravely ill, his fever rising and spirits sinking, doctors baffled by the sudden affliction. A mother's heart breaks at the sight of her child in pain, and Sarah's silent prayers morphed into fervent cries. "Please, God," she pleaded, echoing through the chapel's stone walls, her trust in His plan crumbling beneath the weight of fear. Yet, as the storm of despair raged within her, unexpected miracles began to unfurl. An inspirational pastor arrived in Willowvale, delivering a message that spoke directly to Sarah's lost soul, igniting flickers of hope. Then, as if guided by divine hands, Ethan's condition began to shift. Healing swept through him like an unseen tide, restoring him to vibrancy. It was a surreal twist of fate. With each miracle, Sarah wrestled with questions. The same congregation, once filled with trust and faith, now stood divided, and their whispers grew louder. Tension stirred about faith and the signs she witnessed. Should she share the truth of her encounters or guard them close, battling uncertainty? As the day of the village's healing prayer drew near, Sarah felt the weight of anticipation, her heart beating in rhythm with the collective hopes of her community. What miracles might be unlocked during this sacred gathering? With familiar faces around her, each one weighted with uncertainty, she stood at the precipice of faith. What awaited on the horizon? Would this moment forge their unity anew or deepen the divides? The air hummed with expectation, a sacred moment hanging in balance. Just as Sarah prepared to speak, the ground beneath them trembled, an electrifying pulse of divine energy stirring, leaving the villagers breathless. What revelation would unfold next? What miracles could emerge from their united prayers? The answers were shrouded in mystery, leaving hearts racing with anticipation for the extraordinary to come. The ground's tremble echoed like a heartbeat, resonating with the collective faith of the villagers. Sarah steadied herself, her heart racing. She felt the divine presence coalesce around her, urging her to speak. The breath of the crowd felt electric, anticipating a breakthrough, a moment that could change everything. "Brothers and sisters," she began, her voice shaking at first, then growing stronger, "we stand together on the edge of a miracle. In our darkest hour, we have witnessed the light. The signs have been all around us. As she spoke, a quiet awe settled over the room, eyes glued to her, hearts open. With each word, she recounted her experiences: the radiant light, the gentle whisper that calmed her fears, the healing touch that had saved Ethan. Her story flowed from her, a river of hope in a dry land, igniting sparks of belief within her listeners. Families leaned in closer, recognizing the transformative power of shared faith. As she recited the scripture that had hung above the altar, there was a tangible shift in the air. Faith can move mountains, she proclaimed, her eyes shining with conviction. Let us move our mountains together. Let us unite in prayers of healing, love, and belief. A ripple of murmurs surged through the room, hearts that had previously been heavy began to lift. The pastor's presence invoked a warmth that mingled with Sarah's words, his own heartfelt support adding weight to her message. People began to nod, lifting their hands and whispering soft amens, their faith rekindled with each heartfelt moment. But just as the air filled with boundless hope, a somber figure emerged from the shadows, a man known for his skepticism. Thomas, a once beloved member of the town, had grown distrustful of the miraculous, often questioning the authenticity of such claims. He raised a hand, stilling the crowd. "Is this truly a sign?" he challenged, his voice cutting through the air like a sharp wind. "Can we believe in something we cannot see? What if this is merely wishful thinking?" The room faltered, the spirits that had soared nevertheless brushing against doubt's heavy weight. Sarah felt the uncertainty seep into her heart like a cold fog. Was it right to speak of her revelations? Would she alone hold on to the faith that flourished within her? Thomas' words echoed her own hidden fears, her belief that perhaps she should keep the experience to herself. Yet, as she gazed at Ethan, who sat carefully at her side, radiant and full of life after his near loss, a wave of quiet determination washed over her. "Sometimes, our greatest doubts pave the way for the most profound truths," she responded, her voice firm yet tender. "Faith doesn't shy away from questions. It embraces them. It challenges us to look deeper." The crowd stirred, a mix of expressions crossing their faces: confusion, doubt, reflection. Sarah had presented a question within a question, opening a dialogue that many may have feared to engage. As the sunlight streaming through the stained glass began to shift, smattering an array of colors across the chapel floor, the atmosphere thickened with possibility. What would the villagers choose? Would they turn their back on doubt, embracing the mysterious workings of faith? The air buzzed with tension, waiting to see which seeds would take root. Just then, from the depths of the crowd, a soft voice broke through the uncertainty. A woman spoke of her long-forgotten dreams of healing, faith long buried beneath despair. Others soon found their voices, sharing intertwined stories of struggle. As their voices rose together, creating a chorus of hope, Sarah felt a divine wave wash over her. What had started as a fractured community could become a tapestry of miracles, woven together through shared faith and restored belief. As the colors danced across the chapel, illuminating the faces of those around her, she felt a surge of divine anticipation. But before Sarah could fathom what would follow, a sudden gust swept through the chapel, rustling the pages of the hymnals and chilling the warmth they had all gathered. A distant rumble echoed, as if the heavens themselves were weighing in. What message lay within the wind? What divine journey awaited them all amidst their prayers? The air brimmed with expectation, the space crackling with the promise of what was to come. The gust hung in the air, weaving through their hearts and minds, awakening a slew of emotions. Sarah felt the energy shift, the weight of Thomas's challenge still palpable as she stood before her community. Eyes darted around the room, searching faces that mirrored her own uncertainty. Still, she could sense something deeper, a stirring, a readiness for awakening. As the voices continued to flow, building on the threads of resilience and hope, Sarah closed her eyes for just a moment. She took a breath, centering on that inner light she'd felt so brightly just days before. She remembered the amazing sense of peace that had filled her when she surrendered her fears. "Let not your hearts be troubled," she murmured quietly to herself. It was a reminder of the promise, the truth that transcended sight, a truth steeped in faith. With a new steadiness, Sarah spoke again, this time with a gentler, yet resolute tone. "We are all entitled to our doubts," she acknowledged, glancing at Thomas. "But what if, just what if these doubts are calling us to seek a deeper knowing? A knowing that goes beyond our senses? She sensed an opening, the first signs of armor giving way, shields lowering in the soft vulnerability of shared confessions. Her words acted as a balm, soothing the unsteady fears that had gripped her neighbors. I believe, she continued, her passion igniting, that in this moment, we are not alone in our questions. We have one another. And I can't help but think that perhaps God is inviting us to ask, to wonder, to yearn. The atmosphere grew charged, hearts drawing close as the colors from the stained glass flickered, casting divine reflections upon them all. Tears shimmered in the congregation as they began to share bits of their own burdens and small miracles, fleeting sightings of grace that whispered beneath the surface of their daily life. Remember the storm last month? A voice rang out from the back. It was a woman, her brow furrowed and tears shimmering like jewels. I prayed for safety, although I feared the worst. When I thought we had lost everything, I found my daughter alive in the neighbor's home, sheltered and calm. Another voice chimed in, filled with trembling hope. I lost my job, and with it, I thought my dreams were gone. But instead, I found a community. A neighbor guided me to a new path, a new opportunity just waiting. Each declaration became a thread woven into the tapestry of their lives, lighting up each corner of the chapel with warmth and collective hope. They shared not just their fears but the blossoming strength that now sprouted from their wounds, each little miracle a testament to resilience, a reminder that nothing was truly lost if faith remained alive. Energized by their stories, Sarah reveled in the realization that the divine was not simply about grand gestures. It was also in the quiet moments, the subtle hints of grace that disappeared just as quickly as they came. As they gathered in prayer, hands clasped tightly and hearts intertwined, a rumble echoed again, this time softer, almost rhythmic. The sound felt like a heartbeat, syncing perfectly with their collective hope. It drew them deep into the moment, an invitation to listen, to wait, to see. The air shimmered as the very walls of the chapel seemed to pulse with life. And just as Sarah dared to hope for what was next, a light flickered at the chapel's far end. A gentle glow appeared as if summoned by their united faith. What is that? Someone whispered, awe overtaking the tension. What awaited them in that light? What truth would be revealed by the intertwining of their faith and the very breath of the divine? They waited, on the precipice of a revelation that could reshape their hearts and their town forever. Would they step into the light together, trusting in the mysteries that lay ahead? Sarah could feel eternity in her bones, and she sensed they were on the brink of something profound. The glow at the far end of the chapel breathed a promise, pulsing softly like a heartbeat of its own. The warmth radiated outwards, inviting every weary soul to lean in, to step closer. Sarah's heart danced in rhythm with the light. She could feel the collective yearning, an unspoken pact among them all, bridging their individual struggles to something greater. With gentle resolve, she moved toward the light, an invisible thread pulling her nearer. It was as if the very essence of hope was woven into the air surrounding them. The whispers around her grew softer, drifting into a sacred silence where curiosity and faith entwined like ivy around a trellis. Can you feel that? A voice broke the hush. It was Thomas, his eyes wide with wonder. It's like warmth wrapping around us. Like a promise unfulfilled until now. Others nodded, their expressions glowing with sympathetic understanding. Every line of worry on their faces seemed to soften, revealing flickers of belief. As Sarah stepped forward, she could hear a faint melody surging within her, an echo of the prayers that had been lifted, a song of the divine enveloping them. As if in response to their unity, the light brightened, casting colors so vibrant they felt almost tangible. Those colors danced among the stained glass prisms overhead, illuminating the room with hues of mercy and grace. They reminded Sarah of the dawn breaking after a long, dark night, each ray of light proclaiming the goodness held within the darkness. If we embrace this moment, maybe we'll discover God's whispers, Sarah suggested, each word heavy with the weight of conviction. Let us close our eyes and listen. The congregation fell into stillness, eyes gently shut, breaths synchronized as they inhaled the love. In that sacred silence, Sarah's mind wandered to thoughts long buried. Memories of heartache, isolation, and doubt surfaced like bubbles in a brook, each one begging for attention. yet as they rose, she felt the hand of God beckoning them to reveal something new. How can we transform our past into praise? She silently questioned, her heart positioned in worship. The answer emerged, shimmering in the recesses of her spirit. It was not about answers, but the journey of seeking. There was beauty in their uncertainties, power in their struggles. They were, in truth, not merely individuals, they were part of a divine weave, the fabric of existence, united by sorrow and joy. In that stillness, whispers echoed through her being. I am here. I am love. The words flowed, infusing her with peace that crossed beyond mere understanding. Then, a moment of clarity pierced through the weight of everything. This is our sacred call, she declared, her voice breaking the spell of silence. To lift one another, to share these truths and amplify our faith together. With that invocation, the light surged once more, illuminating every corner of the chapel, spinning tales of hope around the walls. And suddenly, unexpected emotions cascaded through them: laughter, tears, interconnected joy. Neighbors found each other's faces, arms encircling one another, voices celebrating the divine sweetness of this moment. Out from the heart of the gathering, an exuberant energy pooled, igniting new stories of faith. Remember the little miracles? Someone shouted. Let us not forget the moments where God carried us. As they reflected on these shared experiences, Sarah knew true transformation was taking root in every heart present. They were no longer just a group of individuals, they had become a family forged in shared trials, bound for growth and healing. And as the light pulsed one last time, whispering promises of hope, Sarah felt a renewed sense of what lay ahead. What would this communal awakening lead to? Would they dare to explore where the journey of faith might take them next? The air crackled with anticipation, a divine mystery lingering. And in that moment, a question hung, heavy and vivid: how might their collective surrender to God weave a story that would ripple through their community, and perhaps the world? As whispers of hope swirled in the chapel air, Sarah felt something shift. The light, beautiful and alive, coursed through the space, a tangible force that met their collective breaths. It was as if time stopped, and in that sacred moment, they stood on the precipice of a new reality. What if this is just the beginning? A voice came forth from the back, a woman named Miriam, whose hands were clasped in prayer. Could we all be called to share what God has revealed to us? The ripple of her words sent shimmers of anticipation. It was true, each of them carried a spark, a whisper of God meant to be shared. Sarah nodded, her heart quickening. They could share their stories, the struggles, the victories, and the small moments that turned everything around. I believe God wants us to share, Sarah declared. Our voices together can breathe life into this moment. Each of us has experienced Him in different seasons. She scanned the faces around her, and saw the need for authenticity in their connections, the hunger for shared stories that would weave them closer together. Miriam stood a little taller, her eyes glimmering. Who will go first? Let us not hold back any longer. With that invitation, a gentle chorus erupted. One by one, they began to share their truths, their histories laid bare like stones on a path. Alan recounted how he found hope through job loss, learning to trust in God's provision. Joy spoke of her struggle with anxiety and how prayer had become her lifeline. Each voice, a thread, tethered them deeper. As they spoke, Sarah noticed the colors of the light changing. Warm golds giving way to soft blues like the last moments of twilight when the sun kisses the horizon goodbye. The atmosphere thickened with the weight of their stories, creating a tapestry woven from their hearts. Then, Thomas raised his hand, a grin breaking across his face. I remember the night we all gathered in the park and saw the stars so clear. I was praying for clarity and felt a rush of peace. It was then I understood I wasn't alone. Gasps of recognition floated through the gathering, more memories pinging like raindrops on water. We are not alone. Someone cried out. The truth resonated, igniting a fire in their souls. Yes. Sarah exclaimed, her spirit alight with excitement. Those moments connect us. And we need to remember them, to remind each other that these miracles exist. As the stories flowed, they found their shared convictions, God's presence in their lives becoming clearer with each narrative. As if orchestrated by an unseen hand, laughter burst forth, and tears of joy streamed down cheeks. They were united by a common pulse of faith. Suddenly, Miriam gasped. "Look!" She pointed toward the light at the altar. A beam shot down like a guiding star, illuminating the very center of their gathering. It quivered with life, pulsing in time with their heartbeats. All fell silent, entranced by the breathtaking sight. The chapel seemed to breathe in unison with them, welcoming and affirming. The message dawned: they were woven into a purpose beyond what any of them could grasp alone. "What does this mean?" A voice called, tinged with awe and wonder. Sarah took a step forward, heart brimming with the divine. "It means we are being called to a greater purpose, to be messengers of hope and healing. Together, we will be vessels of God's light." The congregation erupted in murmurs of agreement, with each heart echoing an unspoken promise of action. The adventure of faith lay ahead, full of mysteries yet to unfold. As they wrapped their hands around one another, a warmth enveloped them, a community emboldened to go forth into the world. But lingering in the back of Sarah's mind was a question, a gentle nudging of the spirit: what challenges await as they embrace this new mission? And how will their lives change when they step out in faith? As the congregation stood gathered, an air of profound expectancy settled over them, thick with unspoken possibilities. The beam of light at the altar pulsed gently, casting a warm glow on their faces, washing over them with a sense of blessed belonging. They had stepped into something larger than themselves. It felt almost sacred. Miriam's voice broke the silence once more. "But how do we begin? How do we live out this calling?" Her question hung in the air like the sound of a bell, ringing out hope and uncertainty. Sarah raised her hands, trembling with enthusiasm. "We start with each other. Let us nurture this bond we've forged tonight. We can't do this alone." Sympathetic nods emerged, and warmth swelled in her chest. The light responded, shimmering brighter, and she sensed divine confirmation. They would share, support, and guide one another as they ventured into the world beyond these chapel walls. "Let us create a space," Joy suggested, her spirit vibrant. "A gathering where we can come together, share what we learn, and encourage each other." "Yes," Alan interjected, his eyes dancing with zeal. "We could call it the Circle of Light. Each week we could meet, tell our stories, pray together, and reach out into our community." Sarah felt a wave of inspiration wash over her. "Imagine if we could be a beacon for others. Together, we can testify to the goodness of God. Our own journey can heal those who feel lost." Excitement hummed in the air, threading through their hearts, sparking a sense of urgency. The notion of outreach blossomed in Sarah's mind. They would invite everyone: friends, family, even strangers, to share in what God had been doing. Each life touched could be another beam of light shining in the dark. As they shared this vision, the light changed again, flickering like a candle in a gentle breeze, echoing their growing enthusiasm. It felt alive with divine energy, wrapping around them like a protective embrace. But as the thrill ignited their hearts, a shadow danced on the edges of Sarah's joy. "What about the challenges?" She spoke softly, her voice dripping with sincerity. "What if not everyone welcomes this light? What if we face opposition?" Quiet settled again, but understanding glimmered in their eyes. They all knew the risks that came with stepping into an unfamiliar calling. Yet, it was a reminder that divine paths are rarely easy. Miriam spoke up, her gentle resolve unwavering. "Remember the parable of the sower? Not every seed will flourish in the same soil, but we trust that those who are hungry will hear and respond." Encouraged by her words, a chorus of murmurs rose in agreement. They would go forth, planting seeds of hope and healing, even amid uncertainty. "Let us pray," Sarah proposed. They each bowed their heads, and she led them into prayer, words flowing from her heart. Asking for courage, clarity, and the right words when facing opposition, each petition echoed the longing of their spirits to be bold ambassadors of faith. As they lifted their heads, the moment felt electric. They were aligned, bound together by a sense of purpose and God's love. But a lingering question burned within Sarah's heart: would their obedience to this calling usher in a breakthroughs they couldn't yet envision? She knew they were stepping beyond the boundaries of comfort, but they were also inching closer to divine revelation. The light pulsed warmly once more, as if affirming her thoughts. With a final embrace, what awaited them beyond the chapel doors loomed ahead, cloaked in mystery. Stirred by excitement mingled with trepidation, they found themselves at the threshold of a new journey. What would the world be like once they crossed into the unknown? And would they truly be the light that darkness could not extinguish? As the congregation slowly exited the chapel, each heart beat in sync with the vibrant pulse of hope. They stepped out into the night, the stars twinkling overhead like distant reminders of the divine. An unexpected coolness wrapped around them, yet the warmth from their shared encounter lingered. Did you feel that? The presence, it was almost tangible. Joy whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. Yes. Alan exclaimed, his voice filled with exuberance. It's like we've tapped into something greater than ourselves. We're just getting started. Sarah couldn't help but smile as she watched her friends, so filled with enthusiasm. Her heart swelled, but within her, a worry still clung tight. Would their vision hold as they faced the world? Would the light they felt tonight guide them through the inevitable storms ahead? The moon cast a silvery glow as they formed a circle on the grassy lawn, palms joined. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, enhancing the sacred atmosphere. Sarah spoke again, her voice steady but sincere. What if tonight was just the beginning? What signs might God show us to assure us we're on the right path? Miriam nodded, her expression thoughtful. God often speaks in whispers, not always in thunder. Let us be attentive to the little nudges. Exactly. Sarah replied, excitement igniting within her. Sometimes revelations come in unexpected forms. A kind word from a stranger, a moment of clarity in prayer, even the beauty of nature can be divine messages. Let us not miss them, Alan added, determined. We need to keep our hearts open and our ears tuned. They shared stories of significant moments in their lives, times when they felt certain of God's presence. Joy recalled a moment of deep despair that shifted into hope when she saw an unexpected rainbow arch across the sky. Each personal anecdote underlined the resilience of faith. As they reminisced, the air felt thick with understanding, like the moment before a storm breaks. Suddenly, a flicker of light danced between them, a spark of connection, as if heaven itself was drawing closer. Did you see that? Alan gasped, pointing towards the heavens. They all turned, following his gaze. A shooting star surged across the dark canvas, trailing light behind it. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. That was incredible. A sign, perhaps? A chorus of wow and amazing filled the space around them, punctuated with laughter mixed with reverence. Joy reached out and added with spirit, that could be our first sign. A reminder that we can shine brightly, even if we feel small. Let us carry this forward, Miriam chimed in. What if we take note of the signs we encounter this week? Let us promise to share our experiences next time we gather. Yes. The others echoed, their voices forming a sweet harmony of excitement and commitment. As they departed, Sarah's spirit stirred. She felt a renewed sense of purpose. Each sign was like a thread weaving a tapestry of divine connection, guiding them closer to their mission. Yet, just as she turned to leave, doubt whispered at the edges of her mind, would they really recognize the signs when they came? Would those glimpses of heaven be enough to sustain their spirits when the challenges pressed against them? The night held a breath of mystery. Sarah looked back at her friends, encouraged by their shared energy, but unsure of the depths they would soon navigate together. What awaited them in this calling? The challenges, the revelations. Each moment held possibilities awaiting discovery, and Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that their journey was about to take a turn she hadn't envisioned yet. In the days that followed, the air around Sarah seemed charged with purpose. Each morning began with a promise. What signs would they find today? The sun pierced through the morning mist, showering light across the green fields as she stepped outside. She took a deep breath and closed her eyes, feeling the warmth seep into her soul. What will it be today, Lord? She whispered, opening herself to the divine whispers that might guide her. Each day was a canvas waiting for strokes of revelation. The promise danced in her heart, a vibrant hope waiting to unfold. As the week progressed, the group met regularly, sharing their stories and experiences. With each gathering, the anticipation grew, the thrill of the unexpected. On Tuesday, Miriam spoke of a stranger she encountered in the park. The lady was frail, but her smile radiated joy. She had simply turned to Miriam and said, "Never lose your light, dear. It shines brighter than you know." It felt like a direct message from God. Miriam beamed, her eyes shining with gratitude. Joy, too, brought forth a moment of clarity she had during a mundane commute. The clouds broke apart just for a second, she began, excitement bubbling in her voice. And I saw this beautiful ray of sunshine breaking through. It felt like God was saying, hope is always here, even in the gray. Alan, enthusiastic and eager, added his piece. I met a child who turned to me on the bus and asked why I was sad. I didn't realize I was frowning. It struck me our struggles are often visible to others, and yet, we can still be an inspiration. Sarah listened intently, her heart swelling with warmth. This was the fabric of their shared journey. It was as if God was weaving each story, each experience into a greater tapestry of purpose. Yet, unease fluttered in her chest. She wanted to believe their path was illuminated, but the weight of the world had a way of casting shadows. On Thursday evening, as they gathered to share the week's signs, Sarah spoke up, her voice softer than usual. What if we don't see a sign? Or worse, what if we misinterpret them? The words hung in the air, heavy and thick. The group fell silent. Moments passed, the cool night wrapping around them like a protective blanket. Alan broke the silence, speaking with sincerity. I think it's important to remember that doubt is part of faith. Even when we doubt, God still works in mysterious ways. Our hearts guide us, even if our eyes sometimes falter. Every word Alan spoke felt like a balm to Sarah. She inhaled deeply, she needed to give herself grace. Just then, a flicker in the corner of her eye drew her attention. A small, delicate moth flitted past, dancing in the golden glow of their lantern. It seemed to pause, hovering just a moment before them. Look! Joy exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. It's beautiful. It's like a sign of transformation. It reminds me of what we talked about, Sarah said, feeling a stir within. Sometimes we may feel insignificant. She paused, her thoughts weaving together a newfound understanding. But just like the moth, there is beauty in our struggles and the journey we undertake. With that, the group erupted into soft murmurs, signs of agreement filling the space. Perhaps their journey was more about the waiting than the seeing. With each encounter, they were learning to trust. As Sarah walked home that night, a sense of resolution settled over her. Amongst the doubts and questions, she felt a flicker of faith burning brighter. Yet still, there remained a question that echoed in her heart: what if their next sign was not just a passing moment, but a divine intervention in their lives? What awaited as they stepped into the unknown with renewed faith, ready for deeper revelations? The air was thick with expectation as Sarah woke the next morning. It was a new day, and the sun rose softly, casting golden hues on the world around her. She felt a stirring in her soul, a desire that nudged her out of bed and towards the window. Perhaps today would be different. Perhaps today would unveil something extraordinary. She dressed quickly, her heart racing with excitement and apprehension. The world outside beckoned her with possibilities. As she stepped into the embrace of the morning, she marveled at the beauty surrounding her. The dew-kissed grass sparkled like diamonds, and birds sang melodious tunes, each note a reminder of the Creator's presence. "What do you have for me today, Lord?" she murmured, breathing in the scent of blooming flowers. Arriving at the community center for their gathering, Sarah sensed an energy that seemed to pulse within her. The room was filled with warmth and anticipation. Each friend brought a piece of a puzzle that was slowly revealing itself, and their excitement was infectious. Today, they would explore the depth of faith and the profound mysteries that lay before them. As the group settled in, Alan, ever enthusiastic, started with a story. "I found a penny on the ground yesterday," he declared, eyes shining. "And as I picked it up, it felt like finding a hidden treasure. It reminded me of how God's love is often found in the smallest things, sometimes when we least expect it." Miriam chimed in, her voice filled with warmth. I felt an overwhelming urge to help a neighbor who's been struggling. It was as if God was nudging me to use my hands for his service. Her eyes twinkled with purpose. As soon as I offered my help, I felt such joy. It was a sign that we are called to be his light. Joy leaned forward, her enthusiasm contagious. I saw a rainbow yesterday, after a storm. It felt like a promise from God reminding me that beauty follows struggle. It reinforced that even after the hardest times, hope will come. Sarah listened, her heart inflating with each story. These signs were becoming more vivid, transforming their conversations into a divine exploration. Yet, a question loomed, mingling with her joy. What was she missing? She felt a subtle shift in the atmosphere, almost electric, as if the world around her awaited a revelation. Just then, a gentle rustling came from the back of the room. It was an elderly woman, her voice soft yet powerful. Dear friends, sometimes our greatest signs come when we least expect them. In silence, in stillness, we often meet God. Last week, I felt lost, but during my prayer, he revealed a path through my worries. Her words reached deep into Sarah's being. Silent, she realized the beauty and strength in listening and waiting. The world was so quick to move, but perhaps they had been gifted with an opportunity to pause. As the evening wore on, Sarah felt a warm whisper in her heart, urging her to try it, to embrace silence, to open herself to the gentle nudges that awaited. Returning home, she decided to sit in quiet stillness. She closed her eyes, took a few deep breaths, and allowed her thoughts to settle. In that moment of surrender, something shifted within her. A sense of peace enveloped her. Was it the presence of God? Could it be that today's sign was waiting patiently in the stillness, ready to be revealed? What awaited her in this embrace of silence? As questions swirled in her mind, she felt an inexplicable excitement building. The promise of the unknown lingered ahead, and she was ready to discover its depths. What divine revelation would break through the quiet as she reached out to hear the voice of God? The adventure was far from over. As dawn broke over Willowvale, Sarah awoke with a heart full of anticipation. The stillness of the morning felt sacred, as though the world held its breath in reverence. Memories of the previous night's gathering swirled in her mind. Finally surrendering her fears, she had embraced silence and found peace. Today, she felt a divine promise lingering in the AIR.AT, the community center. She found her friends buzzing with excitement, everyone eager to share their recent experiences. Alan eagerly jumped in. I had the most incredible dream last night. A dream where a warm light wrapped around me. I felt like God was telling me I was never alone. Joy reflected the warmth. That's amazing. I've been focusing on gratitude to renew my spirit. It's incredible how even the littlest blessings shimmer like jewels. Miriam added with a twinkle in her eye, each moment is a chance to reflect, isn't it? A chance to find beauty even when things get heavy. The air pulsed with hope, and Sarah's heart soared with the collective energy of support. As they shared, the presence of doubt lingered, a faint whisper reminding them of challenges ahead. Suddenly, Thomas stepped forward. What if we don't see what we're hoping for? What if our signs are harder to discern? A hush fell over the room. Doubt always cast its shadow, but he questioned with sincerity, not skepticism. Sweeping her gaze over her friends, Sarah felt an urge to speak. Yes, Thomas, we will face darkness. But remember, the light grows brighter when we share our stories. When we lean into our faith together, we illuminate each other's paths. She sensed a shift not just in her voice but in the collective spirit around her. With newfound resolve, she continued, as we explore this journey, let us seek the signs in the silence. God isn't just in the grand, he is in the soft whispers, in the laughter, and even in our shared tears. The group stirred, the weight of her words melding with their own. It felt like a sacred invitation to dig deeper, to seek more earnestly. Let us take a moment to sit in stillness together, Sarah proposed. A ripple of agreement flowed through the room. They sat, hands clasped, eyes closed. In that serene silence, Sarah felt the divine presence envelop them, a warm embrace that comforted and challenged all at once. It felt tangible, like a heartbeat echoing through their collective faith. God, we are here, she whispered in her heart, feeling each pulse of silence carry her prayers. The quiet deepened, laden with expectation. Moments passed, and slowly, images began to unfold in her mind, colors swirling, flickers of light coaxing her to explore deeper within herself. Then it came, a soft whisper within her being. You are loved, you are mine. The words washed over her like a river of peace, filling her with an unshakable knowing. It tethered her directly to the divine spirit, an anchor of truth amidst a sea of questions. As the silence stretched on, the group began to stir. Did you feel that? Alan broke the stillness, eyes wide with wonder. Joy nodded vigorously. It's like an energy shifted. We are connected. With a contagious enthusiasm igniting the room, Sarah smiled brightly. Then our next step is clear. We will carry this beacon of light forward, sharing our revelations with those who need it. Our community is hungry for truth and connection. A sense of unity enveloped them as they echoed that commitment. They envisioned gatherings at the park, candlelight vigils, open circles for sharing testimonies, all gathered around the warmth of their divine experiences. As they stepped outside into the dappled sunlight, Sarah's heart soared. Their laughter rang like music, rippling through the air, a sweet hymn to the spirit within them. The community felt alive, a tapestry woven with divine threads of hope and resilience. Just remember, Miriam called out, pausing to look back at her friends with sincerity. We won't always have answers, but we will have each other. And together, we can explore where faith leads. With bright eyes and open hearts, they stepped into the world, blanketed in the knowledge that their journey was fueled by love, trust, and an unwavering commitment to faith. Every step felt like a testimony, every moment a miracle waiting to be revealed, and as they moved forward, Sarah carried within her the promise that the divine, encased within silence, would not only illuminate their paths but also shine brightly beyond Willowvale, spreading a light that no darkness could extinguish. Now more than ever, the adventure awaited. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, every click counts. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this ending, it blesses us all. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Don't wait even one more second. True servants of God understand the importance of supporting this mission through these actions.